Hello, dear people. This is Ancient Waters, and my new album Cølestine is out now, and you're very welcome to listen to it. In this series or this episode, I want to talk about the songs and a bit about the process. And first of all, I want to start to talk to you about the title of the album, and it's Cølestine and Cølestine. It is a crystal, almost my favorite color. I saw this one at first when I was in Skagen on the top of Denmark, on the northern top where the Baltic Sea and the North Sea are coming against each other. I first had another title for the album, but afterwards I really had to think about what I wanted to tell, what story I want to tell, and then I just when you're looking through the cover artwork or the artworks of the songs, you can see that the blue is of course always there, and it's so interesting because if you try to make jewelry out of this, it's breaking apart, like, so to speak, and there is rarely any jewelry you can make out of it. So it's a very, I would say, a wild stone with a wild soul. You humans cannot shape it in the way they would probably like to, and this is actually what the message of the album is. It's like a Dark Night of the Soul album for me. Like it's the colors and the message which is behind the stone, that you cannot tame some aspects of yourself and some aspects of your soul. And I wanted to dive very deep into myself and into some stories. And Cølestine is of course with an E at the end, so that we have the feminine side of it. And it's also a mix between French, which is for me more the romantic side with the E at the end, Ine. And then we have Cølestine is the Danish writing, which is for me the more, how can we say that, the more colder northern aspect of it. So this is actually what I would say my music is like. So I thought that this title would be perfect for my first album. So the first song of the album is called Ron, and Ron is the Nordic goddess of the sea, more the darker side of the sea, the more wild side of the sea, and she is the wife of Aegir. Ron came to my mind first when I was in a theme park and I saw a sculpture of Ron, and I was pretty inspired by that and fascinated by the story behind that, and I started to do my research. She's the one who's getting all the drowned people to the ground of the sea, and she is like having a huge net and no one can escape from that net, and she's taking the souls to the bottom of the sea where she's keeping them, and all the gold and the glitter that the fishermen are bringing with them, right? And I thought, is she happy the way if you have that kind of work? And because at the first moment I thought like maybe the song is sounds a bit too happy, but after I thought about it, you're probably happy about the work you have, and you're kind of dealing with it, like, you know, when you do it and you start to see the positive aspects of a certain work. And I guess she's a dark persona, and so she's also feeling like joy to collect the drowned people, I guess. Yeah, and I thought it was a pretty cool song to start the album because it's getting a bit more forward, and a good one to start the album with. The second song of the album is called Nugen SV, which is like I don't know, the trick of the knock. First, I read about the water horse Ninir, which is the Icelandic version of the nök, aka knock. And in children fantasy creature book, which I want to show you right now. This is the book where I saw Ninir, or the water horse, first. Second time when we were a normal band, we even had a song which was called Ninir, and we never released it though. And so this topic is actually coming back into my life, and we had and there was an entry beneath it which says that Ninir can change its shape, and it can turn also into a human being. You better get away from a knock when you see it, because when you sit on the back of a water horse, it will probably run to a lake or the water, and you will drown on it, and you have no chance to escape. The song Nugen SV is a bit of this, and also a bit about a story or a little fairy tale that my mother told me when I was a kid. Back in Thuringia there is an old castle, and in the valley you have a huge lake, and there are meadows, and she always told me that there were fairies that are dancing on these meadows in front of the lake, and they were wearing beautiful flowers in their hair, and they had white dresses and long blonde hair and stuff like that, and they were dancing around. And I had this picture in my head, or in my story there are girls, and I thought that there were one in particular that didn't want to grow up. And then the knock came, and she saw the knock, and she's getting on his back, and then he's getting away with her and drowning her in the lake. This is why you can also hear the drowning noises that I recorded for that particular song. Another thing is that I when I did more research on the Danish version of the knock, is that I came across a poem that was written, I can't remember, like 100 or 200 years ago. I think that the knock of Frozen also did its part to the story. Like, it's like a theme that is coming across your way several times, and you just can't avoid it. And this is why I'm very happy that I finally created my own story about it and wrote my own song, which is finally released. The third song of the album is called Ice and Wind. It was also the first single that I released from this album. And the idea came when my friend and I were in Svalbard, and that was one of the most remarkable moments of my life, when we were on that ship and we were getting closer and closer to the glacier. It was, I can't even describe it, but it was the most beautiful and longing feeling that I had in my entire life. I mean, you're at the end of the world, and then there is this huge glacier and the mountain, this huge rock stone in the distance, and then there's this fog, and the clouds are hanging very low, and everything's like just amazing. And I felt very, very connected to this, and I can't even describe it. It was just very overwhelming, like somehow, like finally I know where I belong, but I can't stay here, something like that. And this feeling and this moment when we were on the ship really came haunted me a bit, but in a good way, I would say. And I dreamed about the place and the boat trip a lot. I was almost asleep, and then a break from existence, just this very light call came into my mind. And also a bit later when I was recording or started to record, because I always have my phone besides, and I always do voice recordings when I have an idea. And that one came to me too, and I recorded this, and then there was this riff in my mind, and I recorded it. Luckily, it was very interesting because the lyrics came quite fast, or during I had that particular song in mind, the lyrics came. I didn't have to think about it, right? The lyrics of the bridge were missing, and that's also something that happened to me, which was very interesting. Like one night I was like, I don't know, like half asleep, half awake, and in the middle of the night, and then I had the dream of me being, Calypso from Pirates of the Caribbean. It was myself in the shape or in the character of Calypso, and she was on that ghost ship, and I can remember, like, everything was like freezing, and there were snowflakes everywhere, and it was so cold, and the ship was like like moving a bit, and then she came towards me and whispered the missing lyrics into my ear. And it's so remarkable that I kind of woke up from this, and I typed it into my phone. That was very, very intense and interesting, of course. The fourth song of the album is called Sailor's Tears, and this is something that is pretty much into the mythology of art, I would say, and of stories that the tears of either a mermaid or a sailor or a fisherman or something are turned into pearls. This is why I'm wearing the pearl necklace in the video. It was when I fell asleep, of course, and then I had the story. I don't know, my mind made up a story, and I saw like a movie in my head, and it was a fisherman. The cruelest of them all. He was catching the most of the fish, and he was very old and cruel, as I said, and he ate the fish alive. And then I had the picture of that guy in my head, and he was biting into the fish, and the scales were crumbling around, and he was spitting out the scales into the fisher net, and he looked very horrible, I would say. And then there was this mermaid that saw him and watched him every night doing this, and she was very sad and angry that this fisherman ate or treated her friends and family like that. And in the end, the story is actually like she is eating him. And this is actually the story behind that. And I can remember I had the drum things, bop, 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 bop. This was the first thing that came to my mind, and I had just had this atmosphere, like the mermaid in the middle of the night in the sea, and just watching that fisherman, and then this atmosphere was something that I really had in mind, and then the song just came naturally. So the fifth song of the album is Boreas, the North Wind. And first I read about Boreas during my studies in art history, and I saw that the painting of William Waterhouse. I wasn't that much inspired by the picture itself, but about the title, and then afterwards I did my research, like always, and saw that it was the wind of the north, the cold north wind. And before we went on a trip to the Baltic Sea, I can remember that I had this longing for this salty water of the sea and the wind like blowing in the hair, and like this feeling of longing for the north. And then I just had these feelings and these melodies, and it just came out naturally. I didn't really think about it. So basically we could call this song a love song to the north, I would say. Song number 6 is Måneskinskugge, which is actually the Danish version of Moonlight Shadow. And we had this night in Skagen, and there was this lighthouse, and the moon was very, very big that night, and we were sitting on a dune like quite high, and we were seeing the lighthouse, we were seeing the sea down there, and the moon and the stars, and it was very inspiring. And I wrote this song about this very special moment we had there. Song number 7 is called Völven. Völven is kind of a witch or a seer, a female seer. And I think I had the idea about it because I don't know, when I'm trying to make people aware about the problems which are going on in the world and that if the sea dies, that if the ocean dies, that we all will die, because everything is connected in an endless cycle. This is something like, when you have some sort of predictions and you just know that so many things are fucked up in the world, and you're just trying to change things, and some people are just not listening, and this is a bit frustrating. And sometimes you're then the bad one, though you're just saying the truth or trying to bring your truth up. And I also heard like many other women that we are witches just because we are going our own way and we have our own point of view, which is not always like the standard view nowadays, because we have the thoughts for ourselves, And also when you're thinking of destiny and fate and stuff like that, you're often called a witch, or when you're reading tarot or stuff like that. And I was always very different, and people, as a kid you're often getting bullied for that, and you always feel like an alien or something like that, and that is actually just because they don't understand you, and mostly not your point of view or how you tick as a person. And this is what the Völven is actually about. And that in the end, the Völven, of course, she knows her shit, and she knows how things work. Song number 8, my lucky number, is dara, which is the daughter of the sea. And this was mainly inspired by a painting by Holger Drachmann. He was a Danish painter, and he also wrote poetry. And there is one painting of him which is called dara, and he painted it together with another artist. I think he was from Norway. And I found this painting, which is actually disappeared right now, but we have a photograph and because of this photograph we know that this painting existed, and because of a letter, I think. And I found this one in the book Jeg Hav, I Am the Sea. And I'm going to show you, or the photograph, where you can actually see the painting, and then I will describe it to you. So this is the photograph, and in the background here, you can see painting. And yeah, it is actually said that it is the mermaid that is lying on the beach, like she got spit out from the sea, so to speak. She's lying there naked at the beach in front of the sea, like, and there is also a seagull which is watching her, and I thought like maybe this seagull is her guardian or something like that. And then there is a rock in the distance, and yeah, I just thought like, wouldn't when you're a mermaid and the sea is spitting out your body or your soul to test you probably, and you're like waking up, you're not being at home, and you're like very dizzy and numb, and how are you feeling? And you're seeing this seagull watching over you, and you probably think that this is a guardian or something. And then she's thinking like, okay, am I, what is going on? Am I not, why am I afraid of the sea? Am I not the sea and water itself? Am I not, can't I be as strong as the rock which is like behind me there at the beach, right? And then she's realizing that, yeah, she is the sea, and she has fish blood in her veins and all of this stuff, and that she's realizing that she was always a part of it, and that the water is testing her to question it, and to finally realize that she was always a part of it, and that she's now seeing her soul and her, yeah, like her whole being fully, and knowing where she truly belongs. This is what this is about. Song number 9 is Neat, and Neat is a kind of a swearing or a cursing word, or a curse, something that you say out loud and then it has some consequences. Like maybe we could say it's like if karma is chasing you when you say specific things. I read about this in Ribe Vikingesender in Denmark, and I thought that this was pretty exciting. It's a story about, okay, there are people telling specific things, and then there is the echo thing, right? And yeah, the cursing and the karma getting back to you. Last but not least, we have the song Mere, which happens to be the last song of the album Cølestine. And it is also about a dream I had once. The scene I dreamed about was pretty much the painting of Heinrich Füssli, Der Nachtmar. I didn't see Succubus. I didn't see it, but I saw the mare in the background, and I saw like the glimmering eyes, and I saw like the mane was waving, some kind of waving or blowing in the air, and I heard like the noises. Really, I heard noises of a horse in my head, which was I don't know, I can't even, it's sometimes it's totally freaking me out that I dream about this stuff, and it's like it's sometimes even becoming a part of my reality. It was so, it felt so real that I was even like, I heard, like as I said, I heard the noises of the horse, and I heard that the horse was quite nervous, and then I started to sing a melody to calm the horse down, the mare down, this ghost mare that was behind me in my reality. crazy that this happened, and I couldn't even remember it that well. And when I was waking up in the morning afterwards, I found this on my phone that I was truly singing to the mare to calm it down, and I recorded that melody, and even part of the lyrics were already there, and I knew that this was going to be like a sort of a lullaby for a dear guardian, which happened to be a horse or a ghost horse or something like that. As I said before, it felt so real, and I'm really happy that I had this experience, and that I had the phone beside my bed, and that I recorded it immediately, and that I found it in the morning after. This is very remarkable, I think, too, and a very interesting story. So I think that the most magical songs actually happen when I really am not that conscious. I'm not that aware, like it's being in a different world. Mostly it's a dream world, or it's a world that is inside of my head. I was in this specific state of mind. The songs were written in 2020, except Boreas. Boreas is from, I don't know, 2018 or something, 17, 18. And the rest was written in 2020. And as I said, after we were having that road trip on the coast of Denmark, and the songs came very, very quick to me. I had ideas of topics, and then mostly the melodies or different sceneries, pictures came into my dreams, or came to me at night when I was sleeping. And there were so many recordings when I was half asleep that I recorded some melodies, or that I typed some lyrics down. And therefore, for me, this is very special and magical, a very, very magical album, I would say. And that is why also the title of Cølestine makes real sense to me, because like this bluish thing, that my dreams have always been very bluish, and it is like a bit of transparency in the Cølestine, and you have a bit of shimmer, of a white shimmer, and a bit glitter, and this is actually how my dreams very often look like. Some of them were darker, of course, but most of them were like, sparkling, glittering, and this is actually the Cølestine crystals is reflecting that. I think that the whole album is a real round and good thing, mystical, fantastic, and dreamy album. And I really hope that you all like it, that you enjoy it as much as I did writing, and that you can drown in all of these stories that I made up when I was like mostly half asleep. And I really hope that you can enjoy the dive into my inner world, and that you have good time with the stories I tell you, and that you enjoy the melodies that I'm singing to you. And thank you so much for watching, and take care, and thank you so much for your support. Really love you. Bye.